If you have a tight lower back, this video is just for you. In this short mobility routine, we're focusing on the muscles that cross the hips and the low back using only a mini ball. Come join me. Hi, I'm Lauren Eirk, and I want to welcome you to Fitness Integrated Science TV. In today's video, we're focusing on tension in the lower back with a short mobility routine. For some of these exercises, I'm going to be using a sponge ball. There's always links for these at the bottom of every video. This is like a $13 ball if you want to pick one of these up for yourself. Or you can certainly use a pillow or maybe even a yoga block in certain exercises. But if you don't have it, you can do this whole routine without it. Now the lower back, the part of the lower back that bothers most people is going to be the area where the lumbar spine begins to turn into the sacrum. The sacrum is a bunch of fused vertebra, and so when we go from L5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, there's a much more stability role and less mobility. We don't pick up a lot of rotation or even a lot of motion in general in that area. So we rely a lot on the muscles of the upper spine that contract onto the upper spine, as well as the hip joints. So today you're going to see a big focus of a lot of that area. And my hope is that by the end of this video, you're going to feel a sense of freedom. Come back to this video often. I think this is going to be one to put in your library. So let's get started by coming onto our hands and knees. Now this position itself that we call the bird dog is quintessentially one of the best lower back rehab exercises ever. So let's go ahead and spread our fingers wide apart and just notice how you feel. Now, right away, you may have woken up today with a stiff back, or maybe you're coming at the end of a workday sitting at a desk for a long period of time. Maybe you've been standing in your kitchen or in your office all day. So go ahead now and push your hands to the front of your mat. And as you do that, watch your waistline drop down. So if you've been in a sitting position all day, this is going to feel amazing right off the bat. Then I want you to bring that back into neutral. Let's try that again. Push those hands forward and see if you can work on lowering your waistline down, tilting your pelvis up. So this is that backward bend here. And then raise that waistline up, inhale. One more time, push those hands forward, lower the waistline down. Now notice every single time that we return to normal, what do you feel? Abs, right? So really tighten up across the abdominal muscles now. And see if you can find that neutral position. Now continue to tighten. And now we go in the other direction as we begin to tuck the pelvis under. So this is going to be a little bit more active, hopefully, by tightening your abs. And then as you inhale, let's go back into spinal neutral. Now, instead of arching the back, I want you to pick up your right knee, left hand, and then see if you can separate those two things apart. Now, in the beginning of this video, you may find yourself wobbling all around. That can happen sometimes. Give yourself a moment to recover, and then exhale, hand and knee, come down into the floor to hold, rest. So let's again, pull those hands towards the knees, tighten the abs, around the back, tuck your pelvis under, inhale, exhale. Then lower that waistline down, extending out to the crown of your head, look forward, tighten your abs. Okay, so as we keep those abdominals tight, this is called spinal stabilization. Pick up the left knee, right hand. And then if you can, reach the arm and leg apart. So we're trying to coordinate this through the muscles of our back. Sometimes we get tightness because other muscles that are supposed to be working are currently not working due to stress or trauma or overuse. Exhale and release. So we're trying to really target those weak links. So let's do just that for a little while. I want you to extend right leg, left arm, reaching out nice and long. Hold it. Good. Exhale, lower it down. And then do the same thing on the left as you reach out. Remember, our goal today is mobility. So let's go to our end range. Go as far as you can, reaching. And then exhale, bring that down. Now, this time when you take the right leg back and the left arm in front, hold. I want you to now bend your back knee. Reach your left arm behind, and let's see if we can actually touch the foot to the hand. Holding that there. Reach back out and let it go. Change. Let's pick up our left knee, right hand, reach those arm and leg apart, our bird dog exercise. Now, let's bend our left knee to hold. Inhale, breath, reach the arm around and see if you can touch the two. Now let's just say for fun that we were not able to do that. Let's try adding a little prop. Exhale, release. This time, let's pick up our ball with our left hand. So the right leg extends back, squeezing. See if you can pick up your ball and reach it out in front of you. Now sweep your ball behind you and see if you can just tap your foot with the ball. Inhale, reach it out. Same side. Again, let's tap the ball, squeeze the glute. Inhale back in, and then one more time. Tap the ball to hold. Inhale back up, and then exhale, lower. So let's just round our back. I know that was a lot of lower back. Just hang here for a second with me. Inhale, extend the spine, look forward. And now let's come back into neutral. Okay, change sides. So I've got my ball now with my right hand, and the yoga block would work fine here, right? So as we pick up our left leg, we immediately feel the glute. Make sure to keep those abs firing, and now reach out with the right arm. Now bend your left knee. Let's reach around and tap your ball to your foot. Inhale, reach it out in front of you. Again, tap back, holding. Inhale. Notice every time you do this, it makes you kind of rotate a little bit. One more time, reaching back. Inhale, take it out. And now as we drop that down, let's come into a nice little child's pose, which always feels really good on the back, but let's make it active. Let's pull our hands towards our knees here for a minute. And this also gives us an ability to come off of our hands for a second. All right. So now I want you to come back to all fours. Let's grab our ball, place it behind our right knee. So activating your glutes, believe it or not, is going to help that lower back feel a lot better. So because it's my right leg, you've seen me do this before in this video, on this channel, left elbow on the floor. That takes us out of our hands and actually improves our range of motion. So now let's engage that right glute and tighten it. Go to whatever range you currently have today. Then as you exhale, we lower that down. Let's try that again. Inhale, breathing. Let's squeeze, 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 tightening into that glute. And then exhale, we lower that down. Again, inhale, squeeze, press it back. Exhale, back down. And then last time, we pull it up and back to hold. Good. Then exhale, lower that down. All right. So let's take our ball now, place it between our feet, and then come all the way down now onto the belly. Now, if you're having a difficult time getting down on your stomach today, maybe you're having a really bad back day, put a blanket under your pelvis. Otherwise, forearms on the floor. Press your hips down, tighten your glutes, push into the ball, then see how much mobility you have coming up. And let's just stay here for a moment. I know a lot of people that I've worked with over the years don't have a huge ability to come off the floor. So this is not something you want to shove yourself into. Let this be active. Whatever you have is fine. And then exhale, let it go. Bend your knees now. We have our ball. Press the hips down. Separate your knees enough to where your hip is coming down to the mat. Press into the ball, inhale, and now let's peel the upper body off the ground. This should feel amazing in your back. Look to the right. Come back to the center, look to the left. Come back to the center and release. So now let's straighten our knees, pull it back in. Then let's return back to all fours. Take your ball now, place it behind your left knee. The closer to your knee it is, the less of a bend you're going to have to create. Opposite right elbow goes down to the floor. Just relax into your neck. And then once again, I want you to squeeze the ball coming up into this quadruped position. Squeeze into the ball, lift up out of the right hip crease, exhale, lower that left knee. Again, squeeze in and hold. Exhale, bring it back down. Again, squeeze in and hold it. Exhale, back down. 2 more times, press it up to hold. Exhale down. And then last time, let's just stay at the top. Little short isometrics. You know how I love isometrics. Hold here for 5, 6, 7, 8, and let it go. So now as we take our ball out again, we want to repeat. Bring this to the ankles and come in. And what you're going to notice as your mobility improves, It's because your muscles are actually getting stronger. So you may notice on the second set that's a little easier. Tuck your chin, press your pelvis down, hands pressing into the floor very lightly. Inhale, extend outward, outward, outward. Press the hips down, and then gently gaze out in front of the body. Breathe. Let the lower back sink into the ground, and then exhale. Let's lower that down. Bend your knees. Separate your knees enough to where the front of your pelvis, the hip crease, I'm going to call it, is pressed into the floor. Then as you engage the hips, let's once again inhale and come into the backward bend. Many times when something is stiff, it really does just need to move, right? Good. Now, as you're holding this, lift your gaze and sternum forward. Maybe you feel comfortable looking to the left. Notice how that feels. Then come back to the center, and now let's look to the right, noticing how that feels. Beautiful. Come back to the middle and release it. So let's walk our legs in together, straighten our knees, and push up. So I want you to travel up with this ball, and let's come back into sitting. Now, as we come back into sitting, I want you to bend your knees and place your feet flat on the ground. Take your ball and place it here. Now, lower back pain can also be caused from hip flexor weakness. So let's bring this leg up. Notice how far your leg actually moves into your body. Then I want you to wedge that ball right in the middle and hold on to it. Squeezing that there, I want you to pulse it in for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then finally, no motion. Just press. Now, if you start to notice any kind of discomfort, like a sharp pain or a cramp, back off of that force on the ball. Tighten your abs. Give me a crunch now. Abdominals are a part of this. And let's place our hands on our shin just to give ourselves a little bit of support. See if you can use that to give your leg a break and squeeze the ball tighter. Then memorize that in your head. Take your hands behind your head and hold it here for 5, 6, 7, 8, and come down. All right. So as we release that to the floor, let's release that leg straight out. Bring your ball directly over your head. Inhale, breath, flex the right hip. Exhale, crunch, and see if you can't push your ball into your shin. Then lower that down. If you need to, bend your knee to come all the way down. 2 more times, exhale, crunching. Let's bring that leg up first, crunch up, and then very lightly move the leg into the ball. Feel those hip flexors. Inhale and bring it away. Last one, flexing into that hip. Inhale, exhale, crunching, and then bring that ball right up to meet the shin. Inhale, reach both the arm and leg apart. Oh, that feels so good. Even bring the other leg in. And release it. All right, so let's just switch sides. Bring your left knee into your chest. Whatever you finally have, wedge that ball in once again, feeling that crease in the hip. Now, we want to activate these muscles. Let's do a nice little tiny motions, pressing in for 8, 7, 6, 5. Tailbone down, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold it there. A little tension there, balancing. All right. Now, keeping that leg pressed into the front of your thigh, hold that there. Grab onto, I say grab, rest your fingers on your shin. Now, very lightly, move your leg a little further into the ball, squeezing. Add a crunch. So we're adding a lot more shortening. Now, see if you can't memorize that. Move your hands to the back of your head. Hold that there. Breathe gently. Good. Then as you inhale, let's take our ball and stretch it out. All right, so as we exhale, let's pick up that leg, which brings the lower back into the floor. Then you can use the opposite arm if you want to come up into a crunch. Rest the ball on the shin and move the leg lightly into the ball. Notice I'm trying to keep my knee straight. This is to improve the front of the hip so the lower back doesn't have to tighten, right? Inhale, let's bring it back out. If you need to bend your knees, it's completely fine. Again, exhale, crunching upper and lower body coming together to tighten. Just breathe. So I could just go like this every single time. This would be like a nice modification. Again, exhale, coming up to hold, just breathe. Inhale, take it all the way back. Last time, exhale, squeezing into hold. And release it. So let's place our ball down in between our legs. Bring your shoulders into the floor. And now just to release that a little bit, let's move our hips to the ceiling. Good. Press the shoulder blades into the floor. And lower it down. Now draw the right knee in and the left leg out, which feels amazing. And now lower the foot. All right. So for our next exercise, let's bring our ball between our legs. Add that little pressure. So we want to bring in our adductor muscles, our inner thighs, pelvic floor muscles. Now, when you pick up your feet, I want you to notice your lower back does come into the floor. Press your shoulders down. Take a deep breath in. Now, very important here. I know a lot of people, first thing they do in the morning, I've talked about this on many videos, they grab their legs and they pull them across. That's not what we're going for. Press your left shoulder down and then only rotate your legs to the right as far as your left shoulder can stay on the ground. The ball is keeping my knees parallel, so your left hip will come off the ground. Then bring it back to the center. Inhale. Now look where my right shoulder is. Watch my right hip. It's coming off the ground. My knees are side by side, but I'm only moving maybe 20 degrees, 15 maybe. Tightening in with the core and back to the center. Let's do that again. Exhale, press the left shoulder down as we sweep the ball over to the right. And back to the center. Inhale. And now pressing the right shoulder down. Let's repeat it. Hold and breathe. Good. And come back into the center. Now, lift the feet up until the knee makes a 90-degree angle, hands behind the head, and let's add a crunch. Let's stack the knees directly over the top of the hips. Now, press that lower back into the floor, and bringing in those abdominal muscles will really help a lot of that. Keep everything nice and strong. And exhale, bring that back in. Now this time, roll up once again, coming into tabletop, but we bring our hands into the backs of our legs. Squeeze into the ball. Inhale, breath. And now let's roll ourselves up into center. Inhale. Exhale, rounding into the back. Inhale, lifting up nice and tall. Exhale, rounding into the back. And come up. Straighten your left knee out for me. And as you sit up tall, bring the right leg out to the side. Now, I have my foot, I'm basically drawing it up as far as it can go. Let's say that my knee, which you'll see on my other side, cannot get to the ground. Place your ball under your knee, hands behind you, and all I want you to do is just very lightly press down into the ball. Hold it there. And come back to the center, release. Change, draw your left knee in. Externally rotate the hip. So I don't have the range on this side. Place the ball under the knee, lightly press, holding. And bring it back up. Switch sides. Right leg comes in, externally rotating through that hip. Press the knee down and out. Good. Tightening right across the belly. And release. And let's try one more. Flexing into our right knee, externally rotating into that hip. Place your knee, or ball rather, under the knee, and then just hold that there. and then inhale, release. Now, what you should have felt as you pressed your knee down to the ball is that muscles on the outside of that hip really did start to fire for you. Come back over again, and let's move ourselves into all fours. Tighten into the belly. Pick up your right elbow, and now let's bring our elbow to our knee, trying to engage the muscles in our abdominal wall. Now look, my spine is actually rounded. Then release that to the floor and come into spinal neutral. And if you need to, you can even lower the waistline down. Let's repeat that. Pick up your right knee. Draw that knee into the chest. Pick up your left elbow. See if you can hug the two. And I want you to literally make the connection. Now, if you don't, you could have this ball sitting on the ground, and that will help you to make that connection if it doesn't actually connect. And then release. Certain things that might change it would be maybe the length of your levers, the length of your arms, how much you're able to bend your spine. So I could just hit the ball right in the center, bring it to here, and just kind of pick it up with my hands. I could easily do it this way. And back down, and then I could repeat, watching again. If I take my ball here, I bring my knee into it, bring my elbow into it, pick it up, round the back, and push into the two. Holding, breathing, and release. So now as we come out of that, and that was probably pretty taxing on your belly, let's take the right shoulder now. You've certainly done this before. This is called thread the needle, and I love this exercise, but I don't want you to do it passively. As we press our hand down into the ground, we want to definitely come into that rotation, but just be mindful of the fact that we're actually trying to engage muscles, not relax everything. Then as we come back to the center, inhale, let's come back to the middle. Take your left elbow, arm reaching through, threading the needle behind, push the arm into the ground and tighten into the abdominal wall. And come back into the middle. Now, take your right hand back and step your right foot forward. From here, press the forward hip down and now really work to squeeze into the glute. Then as we shift back, let's focus on tightening the front of the other leg, engaging the front of the hip. One more time, exhale down. And you could easily have a block or a chair underneath your hands to hold on to. And again, shifting back, we tighten up into the upper right thigh. And if you can't bend your knee or straighten your knee all the way, you can leave it bent, but focus on creating tension here. Then as we come up now, let's tuck the back toe under, bring the hands up onto that forward leg. And now one of my favorite positions to do for low back issues, the lunge. Putting pressure in the feet really helps you to address the foot component of a tight lower back. If you're all the time walking around in high-heeled shoes or even arch supports or even these real padded shoes like Hokas, you may actually have lost some neurological capabilities in your foot. So now let's take our feet, our shoes off and just feel our toes. Feel your arches. Can you feel that energy coming through your legs, tightening into your left glute to hold? And then step your foot forward. Now as we straighten the legs, we immediately feel a sense of balance. Take your shoulders into a 90-degree position, just like an airplane. And now let's just come into a standing twisting motion. Come back to the center and then twist back out of it as far as you can. Come back to the center. Be mindful of your feet, your knees, all the good things. This feels so good. Rotating. There's an old saying that I always tell my clients, motion is lotion, rest is rest. So just moving in and out of these positions can be extremely beneficial. So as we come back to the center, let's twist one last time just for good looks. Back to the center, release. Take the opposite arm of the forward leg up to the ceiling. And now let's move into side bend. Now, as we come into side bend, you're going to feel the front of your back hip. So we want to really tighten up into the back glute. Hand on the upper thigh. I'm going to push into it. I want you to engage muscles from here to here. Focus on tightening into your waist. Push your back heel into the ground. Activate that glute. From there, we create a strong, firm foundation in which to lift the chest and come into side bend, just reaching, reaching, reaching. We're just visiting our active range of motion here. And then exhale, release that back down. So let's repeat that now. As we step back to our right leg now, I want you to simultaneously come down to the floor. Now, getting up and down is tough for some people, but notice today if by having that lower back issue, that is difficult. So that's something to address. Squeezing into that right glute, let's come forward. Then as we shift back, now we want to engage the upper left thigh. So again, if you have to bend your knee, which is the next joint in line, do that. Exhale, lower your foot again. Now press the right hip forward again and squeeze into that back glute to hold. Lift up into your chest and into your sternum. Exhale, shifting back. And then one more time, let's dorsiflex or pull the top of the foot back. In that forward leg, exhale and release. Now, as we tuck the back toe under again, let's see if we can't lift our knee off the ground. Move your hands from the floor to your forward leg. Push yourself up and back. Get a wall or a chair if you're having a hard time balancing, coming into a neutral position on this back foot. Now really work on squeezing into the left glute as we come forward. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. Good. Drawing those legs together. Then as you exhale, let's step forward and bring the foot flat to the ground. Inhale, breath, arms out to the sides. Lift your chest. Let's rotate over the forward leg. Do we have the same mobility? Feel the pressure of your feet into the ground. Come back to the center, and now let's turn out of that position. Obviously, if my feet are on the ground, it's going to definitely hamper my range of motion a little bit. And let's try it again. Keep that back glute strong as we rotate. Come back to the center, and then again, moving across. One more time, turning and rotating. We have our legs kind of in a staggered stance. And as we come out of it, notice that pelvic region is going to go right along with our hips. One last time, now we almost feel our hips square off to the front. We just kind of explore our other upper body and back to the center. Release. Now, from here, let's really plant that back foot and tighten the glute. Reach that right arm up away from it. So feeling that pressure going down and then energy coming up. Press your left hand into your hip. Tighten the left side of the waist, left rib to left hip, and try to keep the feet pressured into the ground. Right glute is strong. You could look down, you could look forward, or if you really want to energize the upper back, you could even look up. Where you focus your eyes is very important. It's going to activate a lot of different areas in the body. Release that out and then slowly bring it together. So let's grab our ball for our last little segment. As you bring your ball in between your legs, we get a sense of our pelvic floor. So whenever we're thinking about lower back health, we want to be thinking about the things that I talk about a lot on this channel, and that is pulling up the base of the spine, keeping a strong foundation, keeping a certain amount of tension in the belly, and then finally lifting up into the chest. So as you flex into your shoulders now, let's go down into a squatting position. So as we've been working on from the moment we started here, we're working on our hip flexors and we're working on our glutes. And the stronger that we balance the two in our lower back, the less pain that we're actually going to have. Great. Now bring your hands down onto your legs. And as you push down now, I'm just going to turn sideways once again, round your back and tighten across the belly. So you should feel almost a sense of lengthening in the back, but it's because I'm shortening and specifically tightening here in the front. Inhale, breathing, extend the spine and come up. So what I'm going to do now is pick up one of my legs. See if you can balance. Now, as you're standing here, we're actually strengthening the outer hip. Now, lower the toe down and then sit into your squat. So we're back in our squat. Now see if you can again pick up that leg. So we're addressing the outer hip, making sure that we have an even balance of pull into our sacral region. And lower that down. Hands on the legs, round the back, tighten the belly, draw your chin to your chest. Inhale, extend the spine. and come up. So I'll just turn the other way so that you can see. As we stand up again, let's pick up the other thigh and hold. So feel muscles in the outer hip of the standing leg engaging. That's going to pull into that keystone triangular bone in our lower back. We need an evenness of pull through here, right? These gluteal muscles right down to our tailbone, and then lower the foot. Now let's go down into our squat position. Use the arms to counter stabilize. How strong is this leg? So if you notice as we go to one side, you're falling and hopping all over your room, that could be one of the reasons why your lower back is chronically tight. So let's work on that today. Why not? Just boom, hammer it out. Exhale, lower the foot down, round your back, tighten your belly. Bring your chin to your chest. Inhale, extend out. Then as you reach your arms around the ball, let's push our legs together for our final position. Reach up first with your shoulders. See if that feels good. Feel that lower back becoming much more involved. Now squeeze your glutes. Lightly press your hips forward. Lift out of your lower back, lift through the sternum, and if you can, look to the ball, reaching up to the ceiling. This is our backward bend. And exhale, release. Finally, roll your shoulders around. You have accomplished it. So, little moral. Sometimes when we're stiff, we need to move. Sometimes when we're fatigued, exercise actually gives us energy. Workouts do not have to be sweaty, hard, and exhausting to be effective. As a matter of fact, when you can exercise in a way that you can exercise again the next day, you've done a great job. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.